Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be going over all of the seasons for Dexter, including New Blood and Original Sin that just came out, season 1 of it, so let's just get right into it. And we're going to be we're going to be going from the worst to the best, and everyone knows, but you guys can't guess which one is going to be last. It's going to be season 8 of Dexter, the original series. This season was terrible. Had possibly one of the worst endings to any show ever. The killer, Oliver Saxon, was kind of mid. Evelyn Vogel is a terrible character that literally everyone hates and kind of ruins the whole show. And just in general, it was just an awful season. Oliver Saxon was pretty bad, and obviously the ending with him becoming a lumberjack is genuinely probably the worst option they could have had for the ending. Deb dying, Deb getting thrown into the ocean, it doesn't really make any sense. I just don't get it. Yeah, so that's why it's the last. Obviously, everyone kind of expected that one to be dead last. Now, this next one might be a little bit unpopular opinion, but I'm not a big fan of Dexter New Blood, so I'm going to be putting that in D tier. Just in general, I really do not like the way that this was, shot. So it has a really blue, if you guys watched my other video, it has a really blue contrast all over the show, the entire time. I get that it's supposedly 10 years after Dexter faked his death, and he ends up moving over to Iron Lake in New York, and obviously it's cold, and I guess I don't really understand why they had to do the blue, contrast and blue filter all over it, and it just looked terrible. Kurt Caldo was the killer. He was actually probably the best part of this show. Harrison, I don't even understand what was going on with Harrison. They made Harrison probably the most annoying character in all of Dexter. Actually, no, that's not true. Because in this exact same show, this season, in fact, it has the most annoying character ever, Molly, whatever the fuck her name is. And it's just terrible. So it's the it's the girl with the podcast. She tries so hard to be all cool. It just does not work at all. It's terrible. She doesn't really fit into the story at all. She ends up dying at the end. Spoiler alert. It's just awful. It's genuinely awful. What a terrible character. What a terrible season. And it ends in a terrible way too. With, spoiler alert, obviously there's gonna be spoilers in this tier list. Dexter ends up dying. Harrison ends up killing him at the end. But, not really, because in Original Sin, it's actually confirmed that he survives the bullet. And there's gonna be Dexter Resurrection coming out. Yay. Just keep on milking this series. Great. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. D tier. I also don't understand why Harrison had to have black hair when he was blonde. But it's just a kind of small thing that I hate. Anyways. This next one might also be an unpopular opinion. Because I've been hearing a lot of people say that this is an underrated season, but I'm just not a big fan of this one at all. Let me know what you guys think, but I do not like Season 5. Season 5 was a terrible season. It brought in a bunch of new characters. The first episode I actually thought started with it was a great start to the new season, Season 5. But I just did not like it after that. So the whole first episode is actually really good. It ends up killing somebody that made fun of his dead wife. Obviously, this is after Rita's death in season 4, the last episode of season 4, and he ends up killing someone that was totally not in his code at all. He ends up basically leaving Miami and just trying to leave everyone behind. I think that was actually a good idea, but in general, this season was not very good. And it has probably one of the worst characters in my opinion. A lot of people say that they like this character, but I'm just not a big fan. Lumen is terrible. So this season's all about the Barrel Girls and a bunch of the men, and tracking down the men that did this to Lumen. I think it could have been done better for sure. So Jordan Chase was the real main killer, but there was a few killers in this season. I think it could have been done way better if they were like if they knew what they were where they were going with it. The finale for the season, this is a pretty reoccurring thing. The finale for the season has to be one of the worst. It is awful. It's just full of plot armor for Dexter and Lumen. I don't even understand. So basically, at the end, they kill Jordan Chase, who's a killer, and they're literally there. Deb finds them, but not really, because they're behind like a plastic like wall kind of thing. So she doesn't know who it is, and she just lets them be. It is genuinely totally terrible. I do not like this season at all, but let me know what you guys think. I've been seeing a lot of people say that this is an underrated season, but me, it's just not my personal favorite. Next, we're gonna be going out of the C tier, and it is Dexter season 6. Now, I like Dexter season 6 actually. A lot of people say that this is a terrible season, but I just don't get it. Oh, also, by the way, the worst part about season 5 is that Lumen literally just leaves. She doesn't die. She doesn't get caught. She just leaves the show to never be found ever again. It is genuinely terrible. But yeah, going back to season 6, this season was pretty good in my opinion. I've been seeing a lot of people dog on it, but I think this is a good season overall. It's probably it'll end up in the middle of the tier list, but I'm a big fan of this one. I had Travis Marshall as the killer of the season. Obviously the ending. This one has a good finale actually. This season finale is good, and it has probably one of the best scenes in the whole show in it, with Deb finally, after 6 whole seasons, finding out about Dexter, finding him killing Travis Marshall in the act. And it's honestly a great scene. They really needed to just switch up the show a little bit, and I'm really glad that they did it. I think it's one of the better seasons of the show, but it'll end up probably in the mid tier for sure. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I think I like Travis Marshall, basically the Doomsday Killer. So basically, it's just about how he thinks that the world should end, and how based off the Book of Revelations, how he plans on doing it. He just goes on a killing spree, and even kidnapped Harrison, which is Dexter's son. And I thought it was a really good scene, pretty good episode overall. And yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of it. So next, we're gonna be going on to Dexter Original Sin. I think this is a solid B tier. Season. Overall, I thought it was a great first season for Dexter Original Sin. You can go check out my my review on it. I just made it a few days ago. You can go check it out if you want more details about this, like more in depth. But I thought this was a great first season for him. The recasts were really good. In general, I really liked the new Dexter. I forgot what his name was, but I really enjoyed it overall. The killer was okay, but it just really brought back that old Dexter feel that I haven't seen in a while, because the whole new blood was just not Dexter in my opinion. But this one is all new Dexter. It's a prequel, obviously, to Dexter and all the seasons. So it's young Dexter, and I thought it was a really good job. And Brian Moser is actually a pretty big character in it, and he's one of my favorite characters in the whole series. So I'm kind of glad that he's in that. But yeah, I think it's a solid B tier. And for the next one is season 7. So season 7 is definitely, this isn't really an unpopular opinion, it's the best season out of the last 4 seasons, for sure. A lot of people say that season 4 is the last good season, but I think season 7 is a really good season overall. So we are introduced to a bunch of new characters. Hannah McKay is introduced. I actually am one of the only ones that actually really enjoy Hannah McKay. I thought she was a really good character overall, and one of my favorite villains in this whole show. It's not really a villain either. Isaac Sirko. So this whole season is about the Ukrainian gang. And the whole thing starts with Dexter killing, I forgot what his name was, but one of the Ukrainian gang members who actually ends up being Isaac Sirko's lover. But I really enjoyed the season. Honestly, overall, it was a really good season. The last episode is really good. LaGuardia and Deb has to choose between picking and shooting LaGuardia or Dexter, and she ends up killing LaGuardia in a shipping container, just like Dexter was in when he was young. I honestly think that was a really good season overall, and I don't really get. Some people hate this season, but I honestly I'm the biggest lover of this season. I thought it was a really good season overall. Hannah McKay was a good character. Isaac Sirko for sure was a great character, and yeah, not enough praise to show for this one. Now we're gonna be going on to the next one, which is season 3, which I think a lot of people. It's a weird season because it's not really about the killer. The real killer's name was the Skinner and George King, whatever. But you don't really care about the killer that much. You really care about Miguel Prado, who is one of my favorite characters in the whole show. Miguel Prado finds out, Miguel finds out that Dexter killed Freebo after he thought that Freebo killed his brother, and I think Dexter kind of brings him under his wing and ends up killing a few people with him, but then Miguel crosses the line and kills somebody, Evelyn Wolf, without like telling Dexter. And honestly, it was a great show, or great series, great season. It's definitely the worst out of the first 4 seasons, but I think it was a pretty solid season overall. This is where Dexter and Rita are probably the best for each other in this season. Obviously, Dexter finds out that Rita's pregnant, and they end up getting married at the very end of season 3. And I think it was a pretty good season overall. I think it's still in B tier though. I think it's still solid B tier. I think this next one is the only one that should be an A, then the rest should be in S tier. So the next one is gonna be season 1. I think that season 1 of Dexter is one of the best first seasons of any show ever. It's obviously with the ice truck killer who he finds out is his brother Brian Moser. This is one of the best seasons of Dexter for sure, and one of the best first seasons of any show ever. I could even say that it's probably better than the first season of Breaking Bad, but that's for another video, I guess. Yeah, this is a great season overall. We get to learn all the new characters. Dexter's great in it. Yeah, not enough praise for this, and the last episode is great too. That's kind of how I judge it. Is the season finale? That's kind of how I judge these, and I think this one has one of the better ones. So yeah, not enough praise for season 1. Season 1 is definitely one of the better ones. Okay, now these next 2 are probably peak television. They're definitely peak television, and if you guys haven't watched these ones, I really think you should, because this is some of the best stuff you can watch on television. Alright, so season 2 is next. Season 2 is great. It's not even, there's really no killer either in this season. It's basically all about the Bay Harbor Butcher, which people find out is Dexter. Well, they don't find out in the show, but they think there's only one person that thinks that it's Dexter, and it's Dokes. This is really this is Dokes' season, basically. There's a bunch of new characters though. Dokes, Lila, a bunch of other ones, and I honestly really like these new characters. Well, Dokes wasn't really a new character, but he's basically one of the biggest characters in this season. And Dokes is great in it. Honestly, this is the perfect season for him. I'd honestly say that Dokes is better than Dexter in this season. But yeah, it ends up being great. One of the most iconic scenes in the whole show, with him finding out that he's a Bay Harbor Butcher and him having him dead to rights basically, and he somehow gets free. A little bit of plot armor there, but I let it go because it's a great scene overall. And then the last episode is great. Season 2 episode 12 is great. Lila ends up blowing up Dokes. It's kind of a crazy scene when you really think about it. So Dokes is trapped in this Everglades cabin in like this little jail that they got there for some reason. I don't know why they have a jail there, but hey, each their own. And she ends up blowing him up because she loves Dexter so much that she's willing to do that. And I think that Lila is one of the best characters in the whole show. A lot of people hate on her because she got in the way of Rita. Obviously, people love Dexter and Rita's relationship, but I think that she was one of the best characters in the whole show. But yeah, that's why I'm putting this next one here. Honestly, people say that season 2 is better than season 4, and I am not arguing with you on that one. It's just personal preference between season 2 and season 4, which is the best one. But yeah, next one, the best one is season 4. Season 4 is top 10, top 5 probably seasons of any television show ever. It's so good, honestly. He has to balance his life between his dark passenger, Rita, and the kids, and his work, and it's really tough. He doesn't get a lot of sleep. But the best part of this, obviously, is the Trinity Killer. John Lithgow is the Trinity Killer, and he is unbelievably good in this. Definitely the best killer out of all the killers in Dexter, and definitely one of the best characters in all of Dexter. Overall, this is a great season. This is the season that I go back to the most. I think most of you guys do. The last episode is the best episode of the whole show, with obviously spoiler alert, very big spoiler, if you guys are still here. Rita dying. Rita is killed in the bathtub by the Trinity Killer right before Dexter gets to him. And it's literally one of the saddest scenes of any television show ever, because people really like Rita, and it's just so sad what happened. R.I.P. Rita. Just so sad, and it's unbelievably one of the best scenes of all television ever. I'm glazing. But yeah, season 4 is definitely the best season. The Trinity Killer is unbelievably good. The one scene of "Hello, Dexter Morgan" is stuck in my mind forever. I wish I could watch that for the first time. I wish I could watch this whole season for the first time again, but I can't. So if you guys haven't watched this, I really recommend it. Yeah, there's my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. And make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.